Well, there you are again. Charlie Greer podcast. Again, I do this every day. Today, we're talking about self-reliance. Can you rely on yourself? Who are you going to call? Nobody but yourself. Unless you want to put your happiness and your whatever in the hands of others, that's when they start acting up. I've had it with family, friends, bandmates, whatever. They will sabotage your ass just for that nanny boo boo factor. They'll fuck shit up. And be like, what? I didn't. That was just. That's a thing. And if it ain't happening to you, then you're the fucking one that does it. If you're sitting there going, oh, not me, then you're the one that usually does that. There's like a fucking pattern that you're on that you do that shit. I've had it time and time again. On lower levels, I'd see it like I would book when I did booked art shows, like group shows. You give people a chance, like, hey, I'll put you in the group show. And then all of a sudden they're nervous and this, that, and that. And they do the dumbest shit. Don't show up, or they show up and destroy their paintings in front of somebody and think that's going to get them somewhere. And then they call it, hey, can I come back? Like, dude, you're banned from the fucking gallery, basically. And every gallery, because they know about it. So bandmates quitting before showcases. Polygram we're going to do it. I quit the band. It's too stressful for me now. We worked so hard years, and now you're going to, my dad bought me a new truck to help me get through this hard time. Then everything, breezes over. You have to get another drummer or whatever. He's like, come back. And the hell? Self-reliance is kind of like a religion to me, man. I don't put myself in a situation where, I'm not doing that. I do without. And to get shit done, you got to have self-reliance, meaning you can only trust yourself. Yeah, love your people and all that other stuff, but man, you got to get some shit done and keep shit to your chest, close to your chest. Most people are coming at you with, I was just trying to help, or I was just asking a question, when in reality, come on, man, that's low-hanging fucking fruit there as far as like psychology shit. And I've already been through, it's hard for me to be around motherfuckers that have never done any praying or meditation or worked on themselves, personal inventories, whatever the fuck you want to call it. That's a thing. It affects us all. And to achieve something, you've got to have self-reliance. Again, people are going, duh, we know that. You got to have self-reliance, man. You got to rely on yourself. You got to fucking stand firm and be like, oh, no, I'm just going to do it. Because people are coming at you, man. Even when I started my podcast a few months ago, people are like, oh, really? Is that what you're going to do? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And again, it's happened every time. I'm experienced in this because every time I've had to do something, here comes these people out of the woodwork and they claim they know you and this, that, and the other. And then they're just sabotaging everything. And then once you do succeed, they'll help me, like help you. No, because you'll just sabotage it, man. Again, this is what's happening in politics today. These people just don't have any foresight. They just need that nanny boo boo. Again, their emotional age is young. You could be fucking 60 years old and still have a damn emotional age of like a 4 or 5 year old. And you've heard, everybody knows these people, like families, parents or whatever, that only freak out during holidays. There's movies about this. She's great. And then on Christmas, she's cooking dinner for everybody and she just freaks out. That's a sin for one, an original sin. And that attracts really bad shit. Again, there's a time delay on karma, so you got to be careful. Like you can't, by the time it bites you in the ass, you might have forgotten, or can't even keep it in line of because you're just so used to doing that. Again, most people are like, what did I do? Act like, oh, what? See, like project, it's stupid. That's the only thing they're good at or confident with is their fucking manipulations. And unfortunately, a lot of these people are like kind of close. Sometimes they're not, But fucking shit, it seems like that's a cottage industry nowadays. People are waving their emotional freak flag, like just, here I am, look at me, hold my beer. Let me show you how to. You got to rise above, not eternalize shit. Again, over and over and over again. I've had trust fund kids who've got more money, and then their life is terrible. They didn't have to work. They just lay around the house drunk and got more money, can eat wherever they want, buy any clothes, but they're just like scumbags and just like blaming everybody. They just need more, shit. Old bandmates, trust fund kids. Even when a trust fund, it was like their daddy send them money or whatever. And it's usually like it's a cycle, a repeating. I had this one guy in my band, and beginning of the month he was always happy and this, that, and the other. End of the month, and I didn't get it. I didn't realize the fuck is wrong with this guy. The end of the month, beginning of the month, is he getting like some kind of government check or something? Is he waiting on money? And his friend's like, yeah, his dad's his doctor and he sends him the money. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm not gonna be with the band with this guy very much longer. I'm gonna do my own thing. And again, a lot of times it has to do with money or things people have done for people, or I've done more than you and you done less than me. I don't want to do it anymore. I just about all this stuff and that did whatever that is. Again, don't rely. Happens at work. It happens it's everywhere. And now you can't. Now with this woke shit we're dealing with, you can't really tell anybody. You can't. Oh, my safe space. Shit. They're gonna bring it all down. They will sabotage themselves, you, everybody else, and then blame you. Want an apology from you for something they did. Just no, I'm not I can't. Fuck, I'm a happy person, man. It boils down to simple shit. I'm happy. I like what I do. This is what I'm doing. I don't need a bunch of, again, they usually come with questions. So let me ask you what? Don't start with me like that shit. My mother was the worst that she still is. I mean, I love my mother, but it's just like, man, where are you coming from? What are you doing? How old are you? Haven't you mellowed out a bit? I guess not. And what are you going to do? Sometimes the closest people around you hurt you the most. That's something that goes back to Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel, and Cain killed Abel. It's human behavior. And I've said this a ton. If you don't say something, if you don't put a stop to it, do something. And I'm talking about verbally say something, like have them stop, like talk it through. You'll have to pay that karmic debt. Remember, in life, there's always a karmic debt to pay once there's manipulation and evil and sin and shit like that. Whatever you want to call it, bullshit. Somebody's got to pay that karmic debt. So people will do this, and then you end up paying this karma that they did. Unless you're like, hey, no, stopping you right there. It's verbally. You just got to, hey, don't get mad at them. I mean, it's hard sometimes not to like, this tell you your shit, but someone's got to pay that karmic debt. Ain't going to be me. I've even done this at work, and I've even said what I'm doing. Like, dude, I'm paying your karmic debt. Like, just tell them. And they're like, well, you got to put a mind fuck on them. Then they have to. Sure enough, something, it comes back to bite them in the ass. I don't want to be standing around somebody like that. Look, when the shit hits the fan, if you're not, it's because you're not directly in front of it. I mean, a little bit might not, hey, spray in the face or something. So pad your self savings account. So if something ever comes up, you cannot have to go bum money. And see, that's a lot of problems. That's where the problems come. You ask someone for something, a favor, money, whatever it is, and they're like, oh, really? I've got the power now. Don't get yourself in that. You might need about 5 or 10 grand in your savings account. Just because, let's say if your transmission goes out, life shit. You got to move because you got weird neighbors, so you can do that. And sometimes in my life, I've had a pad, like, a little bit of saving, and then something does happen. Good thing I had that, I've talked about this before my podcast, where I had an apartment in Pasadena, California. I was there for 6 years, and then here comes the inspectors, and this is an illegal dwelling. You got 72 hours to move out. What? Huh? Find a place, 72 hours, move in there. First month, last, whatever, paying for about a couple months, and the landlord shows up and be like, who the hell are you? Well, I'm renting a room from so-and-so. Well, no, she owes me rent. What do you mean? I just gave her like fucking $3,000 for a first. Like, I didn't get any of that. You got to go. Well, no, I ain't going. And calls the cops. Cops like, well, he's in the right. You do have to go unless you can, but you're in the right too. If you can stay, if you pay, you got to figure this out. So I did. I had to come up with another money. So good thing I had that savings. Again, I went through that savings. I got to get more. It's like but sometimes that happened. Like I don't know. Maybe I had some karmic debt to burn off or something. But at the time, I was doing pretty good. There's some things out of your control. There's just some things you can't. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, you just don't know. You just got to deal with it. And I like landlords and said, what? But again, I used to get angry and vengeful and shit. But no, that's a young man's game. Again, I've done a lot of prayer. I've done a lot of self-realization, a lot of meditation, a lot of soul searching, whatever you want to call it. I've done it. I had to, just to live my life, just to be happy. Again, that's my main priority, man, is to be like happy and content with my life. This world, this life is an arduous task. Therefore, we need a lot of self-realization. We need a lot of love and prayer. And, again, you got to pray for Judas too, man. You can't just pray for all, you got to you got to pray for your enemies. If you got any or whatever, dipshit eating, Skittle eater, you got to pray for them. I mean, it sucks, but quick it over. Just like, just kind of mention them in your prayer and just go. See, I pray all through the day. I'm connected to my higher power. I talk to Jesus. I mean, I know that sounds crazy. I don't give a shit. I was saved. Now, granted, I'm not perfect, man. I'm a sinner still. I mean, I still drink beer. I'll smoke some herb here and there. I smoke cigarettes like I chain smoke. I mean, but I don't manipulate people. I don't verbally abuse. A lot of it's just self-harm, which is your temple, your body's your temple, And that's just how I got to live my life. Go live yarn. I don't, shit. And again, I'm not trying to give advice to people. I'm just speaking. Because giving advice is sometimes the hardest thing for you or the worst thing for you. Give others advice. Just be supportive and listen. So, this is what you should, and this is the tell. People that have never accomplished anything as far as like outside of a job or whatever are the ones that avoid. This is what you have to do. They don't know nothing about anything. When I was starting my band, people were going, oh, well, see, this is what you got to do. Have you ever been in a band? No. Have you ever done any? Shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? It's a lie. So that's another thing. Well, let me see. People can lie when it's advice, when they're asking a question. So that's a lot of people, how they're too cowardice to try to say something important. So, hey, and they'll start with a simple, well, let me, and then by the 10th question, they're angry and act like, what is that? I'm done with that shit. There's so many people like that. What happened to being cool? What happened, just because someone jumps off a bridge don't mean you do. That's another thing. People just will lose their shit. That's like a thing. That's like the cool now. They're looking for a reason to be mad. They're looking for a reason to be impatient. They just want to, pardon me. And I have family and friends. I accept people for who they are. So, forgive and forget kind of thing. You got to. But you got to rely on yourself. That's the main thing. That goes back to just self-survival, whatever. If everyone else is around and if you're so used to being given it, what are you going to do? You're not going to be able to do anything. You got to pull up your bootstraps. And there's all these abstract thoughts and excuses you can come up with. You better be self-reliant. You better rely on yourself. That doesn't mean you have to be a hermit. You can have people all around you. It's just that you don't want to emotionally be attached or financially, especially emotionally and financially attached to someone that control. They pretty much like a joystick on your life. You're fucking Mario Brothers. They're just like, you're some fucking a character in a video game. They're moving your shit around. And I have people all the time asking, how did you make it 24 years in LA? Self-reliance. That's how. It was dangerous in some places because, again, it was financial. I wasn't one of these trust fund kids and these nepotists or do shit that I didn't want to do. I had to rely on myself. And having dogs, it's hard to find a place in LA that will allow you to have a dog. So I had to move into the, bad areas. They've all been gentrified, most of them by now. Just, oh, they're nice. I was a fucking pioneer moving into that shit. Again, sometimes I couldn't stay that long. 6, 7 months, a year, you're like, dude, I got to get out of here. I'm tired of living my life. Like, I'm tired of being woken up by gunfire at night and shit. Goodbye. Leaving the dead of night. Leaving most of your shit behind. And again, everybody now has to be this one thought pattern, this one type of person, or you cannot be. Back in the day, I was, what the fuck was it? It was when I was photo editor after working for Yoram. I went to another agency and they, oh, you don't have a BlackBerry. This is when like the BlackBerry came out, like 2009, maybe 2008. We're only hiring people with BlackBerries. Now I'm thinking in my mind, dude, that's against every labor law. Who cares about new technology or policy? You can't do that. You can't, of course, that's what they did. I was like, cool. Hey, I didn't want to be around these people anyways. This dude and his son, and they think they own the world. Man, fuck you. You know shit. And you're scared. You're scaredy cats of the real world. In that little bubble, those 12 people that you deal with, people are out there, man. A lot more than 12. And I've always been rewarded that if I stick, there's bumps in the road, man. There's bumps in the road. People will call you every name and gossip and say this and that and the other about you. None of it's true. I've always been rewarded by, thank you, Jesus, that I'm not like these people. I say that so much. Thank you, Jesus, that I have a mind. Sometimes you're around all these people that just fucking, what happened to people's intelligence? Where are the smart, kind of charming people, man? Even when I left LA, it's like, what the fuck happened to LA? They've been replaced by these mouth-breathing, people that like to go to Vegas and stuff. I'm going to Vegas. Shit. How many times you got to go to Vegas? Yeah, Vegas is cool, but after it's shit. And once you get there, it's depressing. I don't know if you've ever been to Vegas, but man, it ain't what you think. And now it's like a depressing Disneyland. It's just Disneyland. Who gives a shit about? I got a yearly pass. I don't care. That's my life. My happiness is wrapped up in Disneyland. Are you kidding me? There's a whole, like, I don't know what you call it, like of movement. People that live around Orange County, like they'll live in LA or they'll move. They get a yearly pass and they are there. They will, even these poor musician guys. I've had people in my band. They're like, I'm a Disney pass holder, and like you have to take the blue line to get the. Good luck with the blue line. You don't want to be on the blue line. Let's just say that. But there's all these things that people think are important, and they oh yeah, I'm self-reliant because I got this job and I got that. But their friend got them the job. They're connected. All their other they haven't done anything on their own. Besides, it's like, well, I'm educated. I have this degree. Well, who paid for that degree? Well, my parents did. Of course, they sent me to, top 10 school, blah, 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 You don't know shit. Well, see, you're stuck in a fucking box. Your mind. You don't know anything about a human aspect. You know anything about hoeing the row. None of that. You are connected to that. Now it's a phone or whatever, a laptop, a Zoom call, whatever. And see how smart I am. See, we're all, dude. Can't you have any, self-awareness? Don't you have, come on. Again, the only constants in life is change. Shit's going to change up. And you better hope, karma's a thing. You better hope it happens pretty quick. The longer you prolong that karma, the worse it'll be. Get it over with so you just can get, move on with your life. Because if you have enough money, enough connections, this, that, and the other, you can dilly-dally around a little bit of karma. Oh, yeah, it's coming. especially if you haven't. It's a thing. Usually it shows up like with illness, like you get some kind of cancer or something. Or in my case, I got typhus out of the blue in 2013. Again, it happened. I'm not exempt from this shit. I used to be kind of a mean son of a bitch, not scared of shit. Just kind of looking, just there's dudes out there and women. Don't get it. Yeah. And that'll take you places too. But then again, you don't really know what's going on, and you just hear it through the grapevine. Like, why aren't they coming around? And people are like, man, Charlie's gotten scary. He's a didn't even know, because that's your world. You like, then you do a personal inventory and be like, damn, I have changed for the worse. I mean, I am, but I had to do shit that again, I wasn't killing or robbing or beating it, none of that. Just kind of going out and taking what I wanted. Like so, but I shouldn't have been so, mean about it. But where I was at, you had to be. Everybody, you couldn't just like, oh, how you doing? The personality ain't gonna get you anywhere. Don't smile. Just take what you want. I know people that are still doing that. And then there's the passive aggressive type that can manipulate this and that. Now that's another thing. People see it's a circle, man. It's a snake eating its tail. It will come back. That's why I live this harmonious life. I just want to be content. I just don't need all this shit. Granted, I need a car and some guitars and dog food and enough but I don't need a lot of stuff that I thought I needed. And a lot of that comes from approval from other people. People don't want to believe it, but especially in the bands or artists, you want people to like what you do, and you want it to say, I just was like, you know what? Do I really care? The only reason I wanted because to fulfill me. But other than that, do I really give a shit about? No. So I stopped doing it. And next thing you know, here they all come rushing in. See, your insecurities, man, are like pushing people away. You won't know it unless you do some deep diving on yourself. People like confident people. People like people that aren't needy. These needy people are around needy people. And there's level to that needy. So you're in that one group, the neediest person. Oh, they rely on him. Then he's in that little group. There's another one. There are a bunch of needy bitches. Rely on yourself. That's it. End of story. Period. Exclamation point. Whatever. Don't try. Just try it. Because if you do like, oh yeah, we'll see, and we're all guilty to this day. We all are. Like, well, see, and there's nothing. There's nothing bad about relying on others, because it's going to take a village. I'm talking about something a little different, something that's harder to put your finger on, but exactly what I'm talking about. That insecurity that you have where you think that you have to, nope. Like I've literally done, you have to brainstorm and like, part of me. Again, have you ever fasted? Have you ever tried some ancient shit? Fasted, dieting. Start something that you're going to do on your own. I would suggest something you like to do. Because if not, it's going to be aggravating and you're just going to, have you had to like collect 10 to get money? That was actually kind of cool when I found out in LA, like, dude, I can collect cans in like in an hour or two. I can make like $100. Well, shit, I'm going to go out there and collect those cans. I don't give a fuck. I did. Stole a fucking shopping cart just like everybody else does in LA and just grab that fucker and fill it up and push it to they have these little area, these little places you can go. They're like in parking lots of grocery stores, whatever, and then sell your aluminum or plastic. Yeah, I didn't want to, you don't want to be doing it for a living, but every once in a while, I remember I was like, I want to have this party. I want to do that. We don't have any money. Well, I'm going to go collect. What are you doing? And afterwards, I was so gross, covered in like moldy beer, and showered and had a couple $100 and woo, party. Ingenuity. People are like, I would have never, collected cans. Well, you're eating a steak right now, aren't you? So don't be making fun of me. You're piggybacking off of my misery. Okay, people aren't going to do certain things they have to do. People that succeed and get shit done have to do some shit. It's not all rainbows and lollipops, man. Of course, you don't have to do it forever. And I'm not saying go and collect cans, but I've met people that in LA that they did that, had they met their families that go down these alleys, and they just got like, dude, they are making bank. They're buying houses off collecting cans. So who's the dumb one? Sending kids to college. Matter of fact, they had an LA story. They had like this thing about these families, and they're immigrant. That's what they did. They collected cans. Now they own a home. They send all their kids to college, and they still collect cans. They've got a team of people that are. That was a few years ago. They're probably rich. The tin can empire. There's probably gangs now that you can't even do it. Like, hey, this is our area. We're not a gang. There's some serious shit, street shit. Maybe they are a gang. I don't know. But rely. Don't get yourself, even like creatively, like say if you're in a band and you guys need to write some new tunes or whatever, don't rely on the other dude that think that, he might be the best. He's the most, you start doing your own thing. Or art shows. Well, like, yeah, this gallery, now that I'm getting, no. Don't be mean, but don't think that just because you got to this certain peak, that ain't gonna, there's a backside of the peak over there. Because that's the only way they're going to kind of leave you alone. If they find out, it's like this unspoken thing. If they find out that you're like emotionally attached to them, you're gone. They're looking for a reason to get your ass out. Even if you're making them money, they will live. That's just how life is. They'll never admit it subconsciously. Oh no, see, yeah, that's the thing. I'm sure businessmen, even bankers, they know exactly what I'm talking about. They know exactly, especially street people, like the higher level on the gang, like the shot callers. They know. Mob motherfuckers, if they're still around, they know what I'm talking about. And people think, oh, it doesn't exist in my life. It is your life. It defines what you do. See, we think that, oh no, I don't. Nah, yeah, that you have to be reliant. Again, people think that, but if you pull the onion layers back and then you go linearly back in a linear fashion, not just like non-linear, it's just a whirlpool. No, you'll see that, okay, I was a spoiled brat. My parents paid for everything. Maybe they might have had a job in high school or college, but they got all their shit paid for, their apartment, their schooling, this, that, and the other. Then after they got out, they got this piece of paper that says they're, whatever it is, you're approved for this job. Then they get a job that basically really isn't a job. It technically is, but they're not really doing anything. They're learning. They're being trained of somebody else came up with this hustle or knowledge or whatever you want to call it. And their self-reliance is involved. Their self-worth is mixed in it. It's like a fucking goulash of their life. You take that away, they won't know what to do. Some of these people wander around the streets of LA. You think everybody's like just a crazy. Some of these people were successful, but that rug was pulled out from under them, and man, they lost their mind. There's homeless people in Hollywood that are like Harvard grads, Yale grads. A lot of them. Some of these people were successful people. But then when they realize that, and again, they can't get back on that train because that train don't want them on it. They got thrown off, and then they don't know how to be self-reliant. Self-reliance is not, they've never learned that. So what do? They walk the streets. They're crazy. They lost their mind. And they know. They'll tell you. When I first, I didn't believe these stories. This was like 25 years when I first got there. By the time I left, I knew they were true. I had met others. Matter of fact, their family will come. And some of these people even own houses. Like, you're living on the street, you own a house. I mean, these people are like, come on, look, we've tried. We're going to give up on you. No. They just can't. They have to. They're just this insanity that they're living in now. Again, your mind, your brain, you can get mentally ill. You can get sick. And people think they've demonized mental health. They think it's something to be embarrassed about, or you got to toughen up, Buttercup. All of us, I'm including myself here. I'm talking to anybody in particular. Don't get it wrong. Like, oh, are you talking? No, I'm talking in generalities here. I'm painting in broad strokes here. The whole world would be a lot better off if people were more self-reliant. Self-reliance. Grow a garden, man. Do something. Learn how to build something. Paint a painting. Write a song. A poem. I don't know. Whatever gets you through the night, it's all right, Pardon me. Do something outside of, you might be made fun of. That's the sin of the world. People are like, oh, there ain't no such thing as sin. Yeah, that's shit. That's what we're dealing with right now. People don't know how to do shit. They don't have any basic knowledge of just ask someone younger, like, how many states are in the union? What's the union? Shit. They don't know. Who won the Civil War? They won't fucking know. Go back to certain, like 100 couple, they do. This new generation, I feel sorry for them. They don't have any basic knowledge. They'll tell you about the woke shit they've been taught by other dumbasses that fucking following the fool. And I can't believe these people don't see this. And they're just also, oh yeah, and the world, you're going to be exempt from the world biting your head off. You really think that's going to be a thing? Like you're the one that's going to, okay. It's going to be tough. You're going to be wandering around the streets so I can talk about I was educated. I should have. Well, you'll be okay. Again, I do this every day. I'm ranting like a madman every day. So come back and see me. Love y'all. Be blessed. Cheers.